Navigation check. Guns check. Torpedoes check. Shields check. Admiral, we are ready and waiting.
Your move, General.
Fire!
Welcome everyone to the first in a series of retrospective reviews looking back at this Clone Wars series. No, not that one. I mean the Clone Wars series. The one that saved it all. A series that has become the most treasured piece of content to come out of the Star Wars franchise even before Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm and its attempts to start something new, which fell flatter than the Earth is believed to be, but it implemented shows centered around beloved characters like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Boba Fett and Andor, and even tried to expand into something newer that was actually wanted like The Mandalorian. But even those weren't enough to kick this series off the pedestal that it so rightfully deserves to be on. This series has contributed so much to the future of Star Wars, and it's almost unrivaled in the animated series department. Clone Wars explored a plethora of characters, theories, philosophies, ideologies, religions, cultures, worlds upon worlds, and challenged audiences, with the inclusion of one of the figureheads to the Star Wars universe at this point in Ahsoka Tano, a character that went from creating resentment to becoming revered as time went by. Anyway, let's dispense with the pleasantries now, and get straight into what you clicked onto this video for, and that is my thoughts on each episode of the Clone Wars week to week. We're starting with Season 2, Episode 16 of the Clone Wars, titled Cat and Mouse, or in other words, Tom and Jerry.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
I'm not going to break down these episodes beat for beat, as they are best enjoyed from watching them and then coming back to hear people's thoughts, but I'll offer a breakdown in the sense of running the episode through with my thoughts if you catch my drift. So if you're familiar with this episode, then stick around. If you're not, and you don't care about spoilers, then stick around also. But I'm just going to be discussing the episode and the larger moments that I enjoyed or disliked, and how I think it holds up almost 14 years later in this case. The story of this episode centers around Anakin Skywalker piloting a stealth ship down to the planet Christophsis to deliver relief supplies to Bail Organa and the inhabitants on world. This is set just a couple of hours, maybe days before the events of the Clone Wars movie, and is a good opening set piece in the run-up to that. Now, one of the best parts from the week-to-week installments of the Clone Wars series was the opening cards with the little messages that could correlate with the theme of the episode. This one was A Wise Leader Knows When to Follow. The idea of this one is believed to initially be Anakin learning to follow the instructions of the ones above him, in the sense of Admiral Yularen and Obi-Wan, but it actually turns out that it's the established and recognised Admiral and General respectively that are learning to trust Anakin as he manoeuvres the events of this episode, but it's done in a way that doesn't discredit Yularen's inclusion in these events at least. So to draw on the first point that I really enjoyed in this one was a clearer understanding of who Anakin really is, as not much of his personality in my mind was particularly exemplified in a graceful way in Attack of the Clones.
I don't like sand.
You guys, the fuck?
He's a risk taker, he's reckless, impulsive, and is confident in his abilities with the Force, particularly to guide a stealth ship around an open battlefield, but aware enough to pull back somewhat during the episode and allow for the more experienced individual in Admiral Yularen to help him navigate through this. He does this whilst trying to take out the villain of the episode, being a tarantula-type creature called Admiral Trench. A revered villain in the Star Wars universe by all accounts, and is acknowledged as being one of the most devastating on the side of the Separatists. Yularen offers his support in the mission as he's aware of Trench's tactics in open warfare, and after warning Anakin not to confront him, this immediately becomes a goal rather than a challenge for Anakin, as he's being told that he can't do something. The pacing of the episode is decent enough, the light work, the camera movements and the dialogue are all effective in getting the atmosphere right, and setting the tone of the episode overall. The only major criticism I have for this, if I'm honest, is it's certainly a more patient progression of an episode, with the plot moving along and resolving itself much like a game of chess.
That's totally barbaric.
That's wizard's chess.
The resolution of how Anakin comes around to defeat Trench in this one was certainly risky and gave a good bit of tension for this part in the episode, as Anakin guides the stealth ship directly across the bridge of Trench's to launch the missiles that Trench sent out for Anakin back into him. and as the formula goes in the earlier seasons of the Clone Wars, our heroes strike another notch on the wall, which was thankfully something that they did away with as we moved into the darker points of the series. I've grown to love this episode as the years have gone by, and I think it's a worthy inclusion mainly for the insights of Anakin's mindset and how he would play a game of battleships. Trench was a decent enough villain, but sadly was taken away too soon in the series, either way you watch it. I would have preferred to have kept him around as a running villain throughout the show, as he certainly offered up a lot more intimidation than the likes of Grievous, but also you could have swapped Grievous out and had Trench be the brunt of the jokes, I guess. His appearance was visually striking and rather unsettling, which just added to the intensity and would have made for a more compelling fight later throughout the series, as he would grow along with the rest of the Jedi and the clones. Yularen's insights are utilised less and less as the time goes on, as it came down to Anakin and the clones inevitably taking out Trench, but the team building was established, and with recent events it's just nice to hear Tom Kane. As to whether I think it works independently from the rest, I would say yes and no. When I say the rest, I mean the whole Clone Wars series. It can work on its own as it's just a simple Anakin adventure, and it gives you intriguing insights as to who he is, and offers up a little more understanding for Admiral Yularen. And if I'm honest, I learned a lot more about Anakin in this one episode than a whole movie ever gave me. The only reason I would say no is the mission directive, and how we conclude it as it follows on directly into the next episode and then the opening of the Clone Wars movie. But, as I said, if you were just looking for a quick Anakin-centric episode, then this has it all. I'm going to leave it here though for this one. As I said, these would be shorter review videos. And if you enjoyed this, then hit the like button below. Subscribe to this channel as I'm going to be covering the entirety of the Clone Wars series, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought of this particular episode. Until next time though everybody, take care, and may the Force be with you.